Hawk Tuah.
You gotta put like an emphasis on it, like tuh. You know, like really. Yeah. Say it. All right, all together.
Hawk Tuah.
Hawk Tuah.
Wow, listening to this is a wonderful use of my day. Now, I've seen a lot of pointless podcasts that did not need to exist in my time. Like, just a few weeks ago, we looked at that podcast that I can't even remember the name of off of the top of my head. I think it was called, like, the Empowered Podcast or something.
When you come back from work, you're tired, bruv. You just want to go to bed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't wait for holiday.
Sometimes I'm in bed and I'm like, bruv, I need to brush my teeth.
And that was pointless, but this just takes it to a whole new level. For those somehow unfamiliar with the hilarious viral sensation of Hawk Tuah, this is Hayley Welch. And she went viral a few months back for her response to an on-the-street interview by a channel called Tim and D TV.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing. You get me?
Funniest shit I ever seen in my life. Incredible. This still makes me heartily belly laugh. And apparently the world did too, because she became very famous overnight for this. There was merch and everything. Let's have a look at some of it, because some of it is incredible. All right, so we got the Hawk Tuah 24, spit on that fang.
Yeah, it's insane how fast she actually became popular and earned huge amount of money from advertising, from sponsorship, from her merch, just for saying that on camera for a 10-second clip. Wow, just wow, the internet is wild.
Brilliant. I'd wear that to my wedding. American flag Hawk Tuah. Eat, sleep, Hawk Tuah, repeat. Again, I would wear this to the birth of my first child. If she don't Hawk Tuah, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to her. This one's just grim. It's just grim for some reason. She's also been making bank from public appearances, apparently charging up to $30,000 per one. Well, that's my future child's first birthday party sorted, and I'll be stood there in the corner in my unofficial Hawk Tuah merch. But something I've not seen anyone talk about is how weird the actual interview was.
Okay, I got another one for y'all.
Okay.
Would you rather? Hold on, is she listening?
Would you rather?
Would you rather have back shots for the rest of your life or missionary for the rest of your life?
Mate, what are we doing here? Going up to girls outside a bar going,
What kind of interview is this? Is this what people are watching nowadays? Insane.
What's better, missionary or back shots? I'm not sure if this is like a normal thing to do in America, and I very much doubt it is. But if you did that in the UK, you get called a weird nonce and laughed at until you went away. And that isn't the only strange interview she's done. She did this one with KIIS or KISS, I don't know how you pronounce that, an Australian radio station after she blew up, and it's fucking weird. I was trying to think of a more descriptive word for it, but the best way I could describe it is just fucking weird.
They all know who you are. For such a funny little thing, do you really Hawk Tuah, or were you just having a laugh there?
Bloody hell, man. Is that really the first question you have to ask this 21-year-old girl? Do you actually Hawk Tuah? Man, come on, why are we doing this? Come on.
I was just having a laugh there.
So you're not a spitter?
Brother, come on now. Come on, surely you're better than this.
Yeah, I have a bit of decency, honestly. That's not a very good thing to ask if you ask me. That's not really decent.
Doesn't stop there. I think he catches himself being weird and like just stumbles over his words.
Yes or no? It's fit? No, it's fit.
But anyway, there was clearly a large demand for regular hour-long content with her, so she answered the prayers of the many and announced her podcast called Talk Tuah. It's like Hawk Tuah, but you're talking to her. It's very clever wordplay.
I'm Hayley Welch. A little while ago, my life took a complete left turn and it changed forever. And along the way, I've realized that everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
What does that even mean? Saying Hawk Tuah gave you a new insight and perspective on life that made you realise that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Did you not realise that before? What? I think she's just saying stuff for the intro. Fair enough. But what are you trying to say this? I realised that everybody's entitled to their own opinion. How did this make you realise that?
Well, now it's my time to talk. Check out my podcast every week, Talk Tuah, where I'm sitting down with the coolest guests and having actual conversations with them.
Okay, well, that's good and novel. It's not.
Yeah, it's not the best trailer for a podcast, I must say. Everybody's starting a podcast because they are seeing that they are becoming much more popular than a couple of years ago. Everyone wants a podcast now to make money online and have it easy.
many podcasts out there where people get guests on and have actual conversations with them. There was really a gap in the market for that, I think. Now, this podcast is ran by Jake Paul's company, Better, which, as you might be able to guess, is a betting site. And Jake, little piece of advice for you here. Keep funding this podcast. It is a very wise and shrewd decision, and this will no doubt return you millions. Every week, people from all over the world will be waiting with gleeful anticipation for the next episode of Talk Tuah. Anyway, let's watch this episode because that's what this video is about.
Come on, Haley. It's not that bad. All right, it's time to get out of the bed and quit rotting. Haley, get up.
All right, I'm ready to talk.
Get in! Talk Tuah, us, Haley. Do you get it? This is the name of the podcast. It kind of sounds like Hawk Tuah, which is the phrase she said. Only intellectuals will understand this.
And I want you guys to get to know me better than Hawk Tuah.
Ah, good thing you called your podcast Talk Tuah then, because people will surely forget about that with that sort of branding.
No, it's tuh. Like, you really got to put your emphasis in. Yeah, you're not saying tuah, you're saying tuh, you know? Like, you got to really put your back into tuh.
How
Did she really become famous just for this? Wow. Probably because she's a young, attractive female. That's probably why she became famous. And all the weirdos and creep online who just want to watch her for that. Probably.
fucking sick of saying that phrase, do you think she is? Hawk and Tuah have probably been half of the words she said in the past 3 months.
Say the line!
Haley.
Hawk Tuah! Yeah!
Now, this may come as a shock to you, but this podcast is kind of uneventful. I know. Who would have guessed that, eh? In fairness to her, her presenting ability isn't bad at all for someone who got thrown into this like 3 months ago, and this is her first ever podcast episode that she's hosting. And she seems a nice enough person, but there's not a lot of substance to the first episode, like, at all. There is really no reason for this podcast to exist. It just feels like someone's gone, she's quite popular, Let's just give her a podcast because it might do well and we might be able to get people onto our betting site. But one of the most interesting things to happen on this podcast is she kind of alludes to Jake Paul being a bit of a dick.
Jake's pretty wild.
He's a little spooky to talk to.
Really?
That's like a man, you know?
And what are you noticing in the difference between being a fan of someone from afar and then meeting them? Like, is it what you expected?
He was exactly what I expected. Like, he lets on like he's an asshole, and that's what I like about him. He owns up to that shit. He knows it.
That's kind of big in the first 4 minutes of your first podcast your boss is funding to just go, yeah, he's a bit of a shit. I respect it. I respect that massively. They then go on to talk about Botox for a bit, and it is astoundingly uninteresting.
I get a little myself. I call it Brotox when I do it. So when you start young, you're actually just getting rid of whatever wrinkles would pop up.
Well, yeah, but if you get all that shit done when you're young, by the time you're 27, you look like a lizard and you can't move your eyebrows. This is just big cope, in my opinion. Oh, yeah, you know.
Yeah, this is just really bad advice overall. I'm not sure if anybody would listen to that kind of podcast, honestly. It's really not the smartest way to get information.
I get Botox, but it's just like, it prevents, my face from moving.
Here's the thing.
And even if it was just for entertainment, I don't find it that entertaining either, honestly.
Number one, if you're a girl and you get Botox, number one, you're going to attract pedophiles.
What the fuck are you even on about? If anything, I found that Botox makes people actually look older. They just look more smooth. Are we really that out of things to say already that we're at the point of going, yeah, anyone attracted to someone with Botox is a massive pedo? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? I feel like maybe this is a joke. I don't know. But it's not delivered like a joke.
But so that's something that is such a breath of fresh air about you.
It is.
You know?
I agree. So I'm going to be real with y'all. I was never the biggest football fan. I honestly don't even get the rules that much. But what I do know is I like having fun and winning money. And Better Picks lets you win up to 1,000 times your money. The app is super easy and it makes it 1,000 times more fun.
10 minutes into the first ever episode and we're already getting an uncharismatic ad brief for a betting site. Hell yeah. I wasn't familiar with your game. But the fact
she's probably making a lot of money from sponsorship and advertising on her podcast. So that's a good thing for her. If that's what she wants to do in the future, then fine. But honestly, not something I would watch myself.
You're promoting such a service that allows people to make loads of money is very respectable. This will no doubt change lives for the better. We should be more thankful for betting sites and casinos, I think, because they're really out here just giving free money to people. It's so kind of them. They're basically charities.
Just imagine if Chelsea said Hawk Tuah and not you that night. Would Chelsea be sitting in that chair?
Okay, now these are the big questions I came to this podcast for. If her mate said Hawk Tuah instead of her, Would she be the one sat in that chair? Would she be the one with the 30 grand public appearances? Would she be the one with the Hawk Tuah merch? This is a philosophical question that people will be asking and studying for centuries to come. It's the modern if a tree...
Nobody cares at all about this kind of stuff. Nobody cares. I'm sorry.
It falls and no one is there to hear it. Did it really fall? If Hayley Welsh's friend said Hawk Tuah instead of her, would she be hosting the Talk Tuah podcast instead?
I can't do it as good as Hayley.
Do it.
You do it.
No, you do it.
Hawk Tuah.
You gotta put like an emphasis on it, like tuh. You know, like really. Yeah. Say it. All right, all together.
Hawk Tuah.
Hawk tuh.
Hawk Tuah.
Say it aggressive, like
Hawk
really.
Tuah.
Like you're mad at the day.
Is it really what she's known for? That's kind of crazy if you ask me. Wow, she went viral just for this. Wow. Just wow. The internet is mad. I don't know where we're going with this.
You're mad at
Hawk
Tuah. Hawk Tuah. Talk to a podcast. You have won the internet today.
I think we need to like do I don't know, like a bar crawl where we get you drunk and try to get you a slogan.
I got something you can say.
This podcast is so dead. It's actually amazing. Like, it's just dead on arrival. They already have nothing interesting at all to say. And look, I don't blame Hayley at all. She's just secure in the bag and riding this wave she's caught. And honestly, she is the best person on this podcast. Like, these two have said absolutely nothing of interest to anyone who has ever lived on Earth. And this person just annoys me. But to be completely fair, she does tell some stories of interest. Like, she talks about her ear getting bit off by a staffy, which is a pretty mental story. And she does carry the conversation. And she's the guest. So where does it go from here? Are the guests just going to be carrying every episode? I don't know. I said Hayley is the best person on this podcast, but she acts more like a guest than the host. Do you know what I mean? Why am I analysing the Talk to a podcast this much? What am I doing?
Well, we will see where this podcast goes. Maybe Hayley has a bright future ahead of her. Maybe she doesn't. We will see where the podcast goes. If it grows or not, or if it fails. If she wants to do other things, she probably gonna do a couple of episodes and then move on. We will see.
But the thing is, the podcast is just based off someone saying something that will make you giggle to yourself for like 1 second. Like, I don't see how this lasts more than 10 episodes, and that's being generous. Like,
Yeah,
what more is there to say after that?
But if they have a fan, that's better.
Do you remember that game I mentioned beforehand where you can win up to 1,000 times your money? Well, turns out it gets even better. Better Picks is offering a deposit match up to $200 and a free pick for all new users. So basically, if you put like $200 in, they match it. That's $400 right there.
What? That's free money. Oh, that's so generous. I very much doubt there is any catch or downside to that. Tell you what, Jake Paul, he's such a generous bloke, isn't he? Just giving away $200. Wow. God bless him.
Okay, maybe not.
Shit on that thing. That respect.
I'm not doing this anymore.
That's
like
really
and subscribe
cringe,
to
honestly.
That Fang. By That Fang, I mean this channel.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about this. It's not the brightest podcast to ever live on YouTube. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Hayley, if you watch this podcast at all, but it's not something that interests me. We will see if the podcast is a success or a big failure, but she's gonna probably milk this and make as much money as possible and then move on once it doesn't retain any viewership. We will see about this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click right there to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Bye bye.